is 6 o'clock on the dot. We pride ourselves in starting on time. I don't know exactly if we always finish on time, but thank you. So we'll call ourselves to order, and we welcome our guest, whether you're here on business or you're just here. Is it public watching? Is that what you ladies said in the back? I can't remember what you said, but anyway, we do bear watching, so we're glad you're here. So I'm going to have a seat now and get out, find my glasses. Oh, Lord, should have done that instead of wandering around, running my mouth. But it's good to see the board here. Hope you've had a good week. Okay. All right, we've called ourselves to order, and the only addition to the agenda is on my part, the Paint the Town Pink resolution under the mayor. If you want to add that under my report, it's called Painting the Town Pink proclamation, and you have a copy of that, which I just got a few minutes ago. So that's what we'll discuss it when we get to that part of the agenda. So. Okay, so we will start as we always do. Now, I know some people out there won't tell us if you don't hear us very well. So if you don't speak up, then I guess you just don't hear well. So anyway, but is it okay? Because these guys control the sound and they can adjust, so.
It's going to be a little louder would be great.
A little louder with me?
The sound is not coming out.
She say with me?
She just said a little louder would be great.
Oh.
Does that make sense?
A little bit of a misunderstanding.
Just think, yeah, the microphones are going into the live stream of the meeting, not out here.
Oh, well.
So you just have to talk louder.
Well, I'll shout. How's that? Okay, so we're going to start with our public comment, and we first have one of our favorite people.
Madam Mayor, we need to adopt this.
Oh, yeah, excuse me.
With the amendment.
I'm getting out of sorts here. My time is about up, so. Okay, so is there a motion to
With the
adopt the
amendment.
agenda with my addition, the amendment under my?
I make that motion.
Okay, second. So the agenda is approved as amended. Okay, now back on track here. We're going to hear from Dylan Wilson and his band about a Halloween show. Dylan, the speaker is up here, and we always enjoy hearing from you.
Most time when you hear from me, it's foolishness. And
That's
I'm
why
not
we
a bit-
enjoy it.
I'm not a bit nervous with that, but when it's serious, I get very nervous, so I have to write everything down. And,
3 minutes still.
okay. I'm representing our band, and this is Nick Grash. His family owns the App Java, and he also works where I do at the Center for Pioneer Life. And this is Caleb Grindstack. He's an EMT for the rescue squad, and he's on dispatch at, down here at 911. And Jackson just got called out to a call. He's an EMT for multiple counties, and he's also a paramedic student. So the reason I told y'all that is it's very hard to get them to practice because with all they do. But we got a real good Halloween show together. We had the town center booked for October 30th, and the range of age of people that come see us, a lot of times you can hear babies in the audience, and Earl Young comes, he's 93, and it just, from the range of ages that come see us, we couldn't in good conscience do the show here in the town center as much as we like to. Corbin's great, he helps us so much, and we can't, but we thought, am I done 2 minutes, Cal?
You've got almost 1.5. You're fine.
Back in June, we did a show out here in the parking lot of the old post office.
Mm-hmm.
And we think went good and everybody had a good time and the sound was good and I thought that we would try again for this show because I hated to. It's such a good show and I hated to waste it, and I thought it would be just good for everybody because we'll decorate it up like we did last time, but with Halloween stuff. And I know it's trick or treat night for the kids, but we just thought that we might be a part of it. And we'll make it look like a Disney movie up there. So we went and asked David McIntosh, and he said that would be great. And then I went to see Chad. I wanted to get everything right. And I built a stage the last time, but I asked him about the town stage, and he said it would be available and told me it was that you rented it, and that was good. And he got back to me. We talked about it, and he got back to me. Told me about the event insurance that you're supposed to have, and so I went and saw Gerald Blaylock in the cheapest.
We give you may exceed your time limit.
Well, I
Continue.
heard it adds up to what it costs us with advertising and sound man and all that it costs about $1,000 to put on this non-ticketed event. And I've never asked for a sponsor in any show that we've ever done. And I'm not asking for money now, but I talked to Chad and thought if the town could be a sponsor, we might be under your insurance and might even when you advertise for the trick or treat night, might put that in. We've got a great paper that helps us advertise. But anyway, I thought if you could sponsor us, it'd be hard for us to pay. It'd be worth it for us to pay it, but if the town could, and he said that the town sponsors shows, but if you could do that, we don't want any money. If we could be under your insurance and get the stage. And the one thing is we would need the stage there on Friday so we could get it already for Saturday. So we would work with the people at the farmers market to take up that space if this is at all possible. And thank you for your time.
Well, thank you. I believe later on the agenda, we take action on your request, Dylan. But I think you covered everything very nicely. Thank you. We always enjoy your shows. Okay, now we have for Red Cross information, we have Joe Ventrese. Did I say that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just wanted to come and tell you what we've been doing lately for the community. And so I know last meeting there was discussion about Tropical Storm Fred and the support that was provided by emergency management and us. Just want to say it was wonderful working with the community members and the different organizations to support people during that time. My wife and I were deployed down to Haywood and Transylvania counties where they got hit really hard. And so thankfully, Yancey County didn't get hit as hard, but I know there's some people suffering because we went out and did assessments and worked directly with a bunch of people to try to help. So we did deliver supplies to fire departments, cleanup supplies, flood cleanup supplies, and things like that. I have some additional supplies that I brought, so cots and cleanup kits for floods, and I'm going to be distributing those to the fire departments. They are free. Red Cross is getting rid of them out of their inventory, so it's just a benefit for Yancey County and Burnsville to get this equipment, which the fire departments want. So just want to let you know we're doing that. Anytime my wife hears anything about free stuff from the Red Cross, she says, yes, Yancey County wants it delivered to our house. So my garage is full of stuff right now, to let you know. And the last thing I want to talk about is blood drives again. Last time I stood up here, I talked about the need for additional blood drives, the need for people to donate blood, whoever can. And so I just wanted to mention that the next blood drive in Yancey is at Higgins Memorial Methodist Church, October 19th. That's a Tuesday. from 1 to 5:30 PM. And so if there's a way that I can get this brochure to somebody in the city.
It can go on our webpage.
And if it can go on the webpage, just who do I send it to?
Chad would be the one.
Chad, okay. All right, Chad, it's coming your way.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much, that's all I had.
Well, thank you very much, and we appreciate your work with the Red Cross.
Thank you, ma'am.
Very much. Okay, that concludes our public comment section of the agenda. We will look at the consideration of the minutes with the exception of the closed session. I believe I'm going to pass these for each of us to read. We will approve them later under my report. Bunny, I will start with you, and it will come back to me, and I will finish reading, and then I'll ask for a motion on that. But with the exception of D, I'm asking for a motion to approve A, B, and C, the meetings that are listed there, and either amend or approve.
I make the motion to approve A, B, and C.
Okay?
Second.
Okay, is this unanimous or any discussion? Okay, it is unanimous. So A, B, and C are approved as read, and we'll get to item D later on the agenda. There is no public hearing for this evening, so we're going to move on to one of our special people that comes to us on a fairly regular basis from High Country Council of Government, who helps us in so many ways with the important grants that we need, particularly with water and sewer, not just to mention one major area. So Michelle, it's good to have you. If you'd like to take to the floor and have the microphone is now yours. And thank you for coming.
Oh, how are you all this evening? I've about to say this afternoon. It's a little bit later. I guess we have on the agenda is the approval of the administration contract between High Country Council of Governments and the town for the grant management of the new CDBG infrastructure project for the main sewer line west interceptor. Well, I did not title this project Main Sewer West Interceptor Improvements Project.
That's okay.
And but that it looks like that was the first thing you had, and so I'm here to answer any questions you all might have regarding the contract.
Well, we've had it in our packet to review. Is there anything you want to specifically point out to us, or just leave it to any questions we might have?
Well, basically the contract will be we've already prepared the application, went through the funding cycle, got funded, just barely, but it got funded. And I will pay for that. It will pay for us conducting the environmental review, and then for also I will be in charge of keeping the grant in compliance with Community Development Block Grant, which, if you've ever seen the files and the paper, the work that
Yes.
goes with that,
It's lengthy.
yeah, you don't want to do it yourself. I've done it enough that I know what I'm doing. I would hate to throw somebody into that, but it's to keep y'all in compliance, and to also mostly with CDBG and the Department of Labor. When the work gets started, I do come and do interviews to make sure that the prevailing wage, the contractors are paying prevailing wages, and if they're not, I try to set them straight so they don't get in trouble with the Department of Labor. It's U.S. Department of Labor.
Yes, thank you for that. Okay, so are there any questions for Michelle while we have her here in the flesh?
No, but I'd like to say if she's in charge, I've seen things are done well, they will be.
She is very capable of handling it, that's for sure.
I've had practice. Y'all have had too. So
Yes.
we've gotten them done and closed out with minimal problems. You know, I think the worst problem we have is you're coming in under budget.
Well, so for this first one then, if there are no questions or any further comments, I'll ask for a motion to approve.
I'll make that motion.
Okay?
Second.
It's unanimous.
Great.
Okay. So you wish to move on to your other item?
The other part are required compliance documents that need to be adopted for the project. We were able to use some that were adopted with the last program because it ended just a year or so ago, but there's some others that expired, so we're having to get those readopted. Everything that I'm going to read, that I'm going to list off, you all have adopted before, and the only thing that might have changed might be a template or something that DEQ has made changes to because HUD has made changes. So other than that, it should be the exact same policies that you've adopted in the past. The first one being a 504 ADA, which is the Americans with Disabilities Act grievance procedure. It just outlines if anybody has a grievance, especially regarding this upcoming CDBG program, that we're not that there's an ADA or how can I say it? That there is an ADA discrimination process. I'm trying to get I'm trying to figure out how to say this. If there's a discrimination due to disability, so it outlines the process to go through. There's a procurement policy and plan that outlines how the the town goes about hiring the contractors and the service and service contracts like the engineering and our contract for this project. I've got listed on here project ordinance. We're going to do that at a later date because of some other issues. There's an equal employment plan that is for the town, just discrimination again. There's a language access plan that has to be adopted that explains the procedure in case somebody was to come in asking about anything with the town and needing translation services or needing some information that the town, they might. There's a plan in place that they can, due diligence, or they can take their due process. They don't have to help them immediately, but they need to at least investigate ways to help somebody if translation services are needed. That's only come up once or twice. The local economic benefit for low and very low income persons plan is also known as the Section 3 plan. It outlines how the town and the contractors will go about making good faith efforts to try to hire local low-income people if jobs are available due to the project. There's equal housing opportunity, but again, it's a discrimination regarding housing, which there's no housing in this project, but we still have to pass it. There's a conflict of interest policy, basically saying that anybody in a decision-making position will not be profiting from this project. And then there's two policies here regarding fair housing. I will be coming back, or at least sending back a fair housing assessment, analysis of impediments is what they call it now. Analysis of impediments probably in early winter. I've got a little while to be able to do that, and that we have to conduct fair housing activities every quarter with these projects because of the federal monies that are in it. But tonight I have the fair housing plan, which outlines those activities, and then the fair housing complaint procedure, which outlines the process in case anybody had any complaints regarding fair housing. And I would love for these to be adopted tonight so I can get them to DEQ because they are due next month.
Gosh, well, you certainly do a good job for us, and I think you're the one that broke me into the CDB grants, and we walked the town halls, streets before getting people to sign. So Michelle is very dedicated and thorough. Does anyone have any questions or comments for Michelle, other than a big thank you? Well, then I'll ask for a motion to approve tonight. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
All right. Is there a second? Are we all in agreement?
Yes.
So there you have it, Michelle, tonight.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you for making the trip down.
And I hope you don't find it rude that I'm leaving now, so I can.
No, we certainly do not. We understand. So safe travels back to Boone. Okay, let's see. We'll move on then to Heather, who has been extremely busy. Look at the agenda. If you doubt that she's not busy, then you can't read the agenda. That's all I'll say, Heather.
Well, and I'm gonna try to be as brief as I can to cover all of these things that not just myself, but various members of our staff have been working on diligently just since the last meeting.
Okay.
Quickly, COVID-19 update for Yancey County. I'm just.
That's okay.
Is that you?
No,
Yes.
that's fire department.
Okay. For Yancey County, I got the information from Jeff Howell, and from their health department. The latest numbers we have are from 9/28 through 10/3. So last week, there were 61 new positives, 58 active cases, 65 total contacts, 7 fully vaccinated positives, and a total of 12 deaths, and that's since August the 1st. So that information, I think, is pretty widely available through social media or the health department website or the county's emergency management website. Want to give an update on where we are in the FEMA process. I probably should turn this over to Leslie and Shane because they have been dealing with our project manager, Ryan Germany. We have had our exploratory meeting, our recovery scoping meeting, which was required. Iris Oliver, who is with the North Carolina Department of Safety, is our state grant representative. She's met with us 2 times already. Brian's been working on our damage inventory list along with Shane and Leslie. We have until December the 4th to get that loaded into the grants portal, and Leslie's already got us set up with our account there. And we are just moving towards getting assessments of damages and trying to figure out, navigate the procurement policies of FEMA to make sure that we do that right, so that if we do become eligible for reimbursement on any of our projects, that we will. Basically, right now, I think we have 5, well, counting some minor damage to some fencing and camera at the water intake. We've got, it's mainly culvert type damages that we are dealing with. So we are working on that. Has anybody got any questions for me or the rest of everybody?
So the town has 5.
We have 5 identified right now, is that correct? Or is it
I believe it may be 6.
Maybe 6.
Yeah.
6.
6.
Okay.
6 identified. Possible projects, and we're gonna submit them and hope that they agree to pay us something for them.
Yes, that would be nice.
And we have 18 months from September the 8th to complete projects. So are there any other questions about FEMA?
When is the final date that you can submit things?
Not until December the 4th. So it's
So if
60
something else-
days from when we had our recovery scoping meeting, which was October 4th.
So if something else is discovered, we have.
Yeah, if we discover something else, we can within that time period. And then, obviously, if we're in the middle of a project and it becomes evident that there's something that was hidden, I think there's a way that we can add those figures in also. The West Main Sewer Interceptor Project that Michelle has been talking about, we did procure, went through the procurement procedure for engineering services, and Withers Ravenel is the engineering company we have been negotiating with for a contract with them. I gave you guys
Yes.
pages from their proposal that dealt with numbers. So I reviewed I didn't get the proposal until 4:49 yesterday afternoon, but I reviewed it. And I reviewed the numbers. When we did the grant application, we had to have a project budget. Another engineering firm actually prepared the project budget. But I've talked with the state and they're not required to be held to this project budget even if they have been chosen, for engineering services. So I will say that the estimate is a little bit higher, about $37,000 higher.
About how many?
About $37,000 higher, $37,500, I think, than what, initially was, projected in the application budget. And that just means we move numbers around. We have, contract admin, and that's probably where, when you take out what High Country is going to get for their administration of the grant, there was funds left over. That's where that money would come from.
Okay.
You have basically three choices. You could approve this proposal. You could reject this proposal and try to renegotiate for a lower price. Or you could reject it altogether and move on to the second choice of engineering firms.
So, pardon me for interrupting, so what was your reason for choosing this over the other?
Well, we had, all of them had to submit proposals to us. The committee sat down and looked at those proposals, and Withers basically was, I would think the biggest thing was that they were providing more principal time from key personnel towards the project, a significant amount.
How does their price compare to number two?
Well, number two, see, that's the thing, when they submit your proposals,
They don't have that.
they're not allowed by state law to give you a price. You can't consider the price, you just have to consider their qualifications. And then you choose the firm you think is most qualified, and then you negotiate with them for the contract.
So you don't negotiate with them on that until we approve?
Well, no, we've been negotiating with them.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, if these negotiations were to fail, then we could move to our second choice if we wanted to.
I see.
Did you mean that they gave us this Withers Ravenel,
Yes.
Ravenel, would be giving us more quality time on the project, or they had more qualifications, that their engineers were more highly qualified?
I don't think that, and when I looked at the scoring matrix, it's not that their engineers necessarily are more highly qualified. All the firms that submitted had qualified engineers. It was that they were providing more personnel time towards the project.
That's what I'm
So they were proposing, say, their project manager was gonna spend 55% of his time working on our project versus another firm which was their project manager was gonna be spending 25% of the time.
Which is time, quality time, which is time,
Time is money.
which is,
And I think their project schedule reflected a little bit of
Yes.
performance too, as far as
which,
turnaround.
which it sounds like, if they're gonna give you more of themselves into the project, that sounds like a good thing, unless they're just frittering it.
Well, it is a good thing, it is a good thing, I just think that I have to point out that it is, the price they have proposed is above the price that was initially quoted in the project budget that had to go into the state for the grant application.
That they quoted, that their own company quoted?
No.
Okay.
A different company.
They're a different
A
company.
different company prepared the project budget for the project application for the grant.
That's what I thought.
And I'm just saying, this comes in a little bit higher than that. A key concern in all of this is the construction costs. If the construction cost falls along the lines of what was budgeted in the application, we should be in good shape. And we have $2 million, and all of it has to come out of this. High Country's fees, the engineering fees, and the cost of the actual construction.
And if we delayed it long enough to
Negotiate.
if we if we said no to this and then redo it with someone else, could it wind up being more expensive just because?
I don't necessarily think so, because the timeline that we have, you know, they're expecting us to have this part, the contract negotiations done by October 25th. So I don't think that that's, you know, it's not gonna take that long.
So we got plenty of time to do it.
We
If
do, I
wanted
mean,
to.
when you talk about, the construction won't start until sometime probably next spring or summer, something like that. So,
move on. I just didn't know.
I don't think that that's an issue. The big issue is there's so much money flowing down right now for projects like this, that there's, companies have plenty to do, so they can charge more for their construction than they typically would if there wasn't this influx of money for projects like this.
It's still running about 12% of the total project budget for engineering, and,
It
you know,
is.
usually 10%'s a good number to go by.
Right.
So it's within the ballpark
It
range.
is, and nobody can say that if you were to choose one of the other firms, that they wouldn't come in even higher.
That's true.
I mean, it's not astronomically
Right.
more than
It's not.
what we would.
Okay.
Have we not used these for something else, these guys for something else?
We have.
That's what I
We
thought.
have. We've worked with them, we worked with them on our SOC project.
Yes.
And they did, some cost estimating on the sewer plant. So, yeah, we have.
And they've done several for the county too.
They've done several projects for the county. They're the engineers on the county's sewer collection system down to the new plant.
So is there any reason to think this is a negative, that this is not okay?
Just the fact that it's a little bit higher than kind of what was projected when the application was filed, but that's just something I need to tell y'all. I don't think it's necessarily a negative.
Okay, other questions for Heather? Then we need a motion to approve, correct?
We do, and also to authorize, I don't know who they set this up for. Sorry, y'all. I thought that down. A motion to authorize it to be, signed. You don't have that one? Okay. Let me see. I've got it right here. See who they set it up for. They may not set it up for anybody yet.
Well, I wonder, because getting this approved is, they didn't.
They didn't.
So
They didn't.
we just need to approve as presented and discussed.
And authorize somebody, either myself or the mayor, to sign it. That's not, they don't have it set up for anybody, just the line.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to approve.
thank you, Russell. Is there a second?
I second.
Any other discussion? Is the vote unanimous? Okay, you got it, Heather.
Can I get a motion to either approve you or myself to sign it?
Yes, I'm sorry.
I'll make that
One or
motion
the
too.
other.
One or
And
the
I'll
other.
second, I'll
Okay.
second that one also.
And it's.
Either or.
Yeah, either or. Thank you, that's approved too. Okay, continue, please.
Just a quick update on the Little League, project, the water line extension. CDC is the engineering company that was selected for that. It's Civil Design Concepts out of Asheville. They are doing all the, engineering on the site for the Little League project, and also doing all the engineering required for the permitting for the Army Corps of Engineers. And the county, highly recommended them to do, keep it all sort of under the same umbrella. And so they were selected to be the engineer for that water line extension. They are working on, this is yet an unfunded project. We've got several grant applications out. ARC has gone out, they're working on the EDA, and Golden Leaf just announced a new funding opportunity for rural industrial sites, so they are gonna apply for that grant also. But I just wanted to update you and let you know we will be getting probably an engineering proposal similar to the one from Withers for that.
Okay, so,
The next thing on my list, quick update, car charging unit.
now, did we need a motion to approve anything?
No.
No, okay,
No, don't need a motion to approve it, because I don't have their proposal yet.
got you.
They're working on the preliminary engineering report, which is due Monday, I think. So
That's
they're-
fine. Well, please continue.
Click on that. So, the car charging unit, quick update, got an email from Tracy Evans with, French Broad, and in the past 20 calendar days, the unit's been used 12 of those days, for a total of 110 kilowatts. So he just
Wow.
wanted you all to know it was getting used.
Well, that's great. It was a nice picture in the paper, Jody.
Jody, you're behind the thing, Jody.
How many of those days were your cars, Heather?
Huh?
No,
Have you
no.
used it?
None of those days are
That's-
my car.
that's
I
out of
charge it,
order.
Thank you. I'm on charge.
I'm gonna have to watch him.
I'm not walking from all the way to Town Hall Elevator Project.
Yes,
Mayor and
yes.
I and Janice McKinney met with architect Shannon Athos last week. She took some more measurements. She talked to Janice about the fact that the space that the lift is going to be constructed in is gonna take away from Janice's desk. Janice is not worried at all about her desk. She's
No.
worried about the Ethernet cable that runs everything, and the fact that our servers are currently housed in that little closet right before you get to the staircase, and that's not a good place for them. There's no
They can't
air
breathe.
circulation, it's dusty, that sort of thing. That we think that we're gonna be able to move all that upstairs behind the unit where it's going upstairs, which is gonna be a much better location. Janice was excited about that. We expect to have design drawings by October 18th. So that'll be something for you all to look at and approve before she moves on to her set of construction drawings, and we start looking at contractors
Yes.
for the build and the installation. 118 North Main building, our current fire department. We had the IDEX lab students come from ASU. It's a cohort of seniors and graduate students, and Joe did a great article for us about that. They met with Brian and Shane and some of their employees and talked about what they'd like to have done to the building, and we look forward to having, seeing their concept designs later on in the semester. We were awarded the DOT Bicycle and Pedestrian Planning Grant for $35,000. That has a $3,500 match that will come from us. We do not have the contracts yet from the state on that grant. When we get them, they'll have more of a timeline. They have recommended a planning firm to work with that's part of their approved list. So we'll take a look at that when we get more information from them, but we did get notification of the award. Maybe good news on the fire station DOT funding for paving. We had our local engineer, District 13 engineer Chris Medlin had submitted a request, and we were denied the funding last week. But then this week, Niles got a call from another engineer who said they wanted to resubmit it, and they sent us over a checklist of things, documents to provide to them. So we've been getting that together today, and we're gonna try to resubmit it, and maybe we'll get a second bite at that apple. I think that's up to a $25,000 towards
Well,
our paving.
That would be fantastic.
You know, Heather, initially, they did promise us they would.
And it's just been a strange thing, 'cause at first Niles and I thought it might be some kind of a hoax or something, and then we looked at it and
But it was in
it
a,
looks legit.
it was in a
so-
large gathering here that, you know, he was asked and said, yes, that was the only thing they could do to help
Right.
us. So-
Well, the initial rejection was because the fire department did not abut a DOT main road, but maintained road. But this new information,
What's great,
we'll see where it goes.
Fantastic.
yes.
Have another contract amendment with McGill and Associates, for engineering services, go all the way back to our wastewater treatment plant project that was initially in 2016, 17, part of the OMC pump station project.
Lord.
Never could get that part of the project bid out, so they bifurcated, separated the two projects. And we submitted, to the state revolving fund for some additional funding so that we could do the water treatment plant project. That funding was approved back in April, and McGill, there were some additional items that were added, to the project, and McGill has sent an amendment for the mayor's signature, to their initial, pricing, and that's all covered within the budget of the new line.
Great.
So, I just need a motion for you guys to approve
To-
the mayor to sign that amendment to their contract.
So, okay, y'all.
I make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, it's Russell and Bunny.
Yes.
Okay, you have that.
Looking for my, got that, there it is. So, the next item on my list is the pavement condition survey. On Monday at 1 o'clock, Shane and I had a meeting, we had some engineers from the JNT, Transportation Engineering Firm out of Waynesville, who had contacted us about, presenting a proposal for a pavement condition survey. The survey includes inspection, we have about 11 miles of town-maintained roads here. It would include a inspection to DOT specifications of all of those roads. It would rank the condition of the roads and make recommendations for maintenance and repair of surfaces, and offer a number of scoring matrix options so that as we move forward in trying to allocate resources towards paving, be that Powell bill or general fund money, we would have a way of objectively selecting projects. And with the hope to be that each year we would be able to allocate some funding to repair and some funding to maintenance.
Well, I think it's good, so it'll prioritize for us the more serious needed ones to start with.
It will. I mean, historically, we've just sort of let Powell bill money, which has shrunk over the years,
Yes.
build up for a period of time before we've tried to figure out what projects we want to do. This would at least be able to let us have some kind of an annual list of things we'd like to get accomplished, and to see where we could obtain funding for
Well, it
that.
would be systematic.
Right.
It
and
wouldn't be
objective.
such a grab bag.
Yeah, it wouldn't be based on citizens saying they needed it over somebody else. So,
Would-
So.
you need a
I
motion
have a
to
quick question about
The
that.
scope of services, is let me tell you about the price for y'all.
approve.
Approved, so completion of field work, submittal of a final report, which they will give us, it's about an 80 to 100 page report. It's pretty thorough, we've looked at their reports from other communities, Wood and Waynesville, a couple of other smaller places. And then a council presentation upon completion would be optional. So, you know, if we did all of that, we'd be looking at $6,100 total. And if you did not have the council presentation, that kicks it back to about, 5,300, sorry, not thousand.
Well, that sounds reasonable.
Yeah.
A good study.
And they've done this for other towns, you say?
They have, and the engineer we met with was a longtime engineer with DOT. And this is kind of his second
I think it sounds good.
career.
And
Okay.
part of this report that they'll develop for us, will it also like prioritize the streets, but will also tell like approximate how much cost it would be to repave in a detail with each
Well,
road
I mean,
also, or is
I
that?
think that there probably
separate?
would be some discussion about calculations. But obviously until we bid the projects out, we
Right.
wouldn't know, a true cost. But we'd have basically what we would need to look at. And what they showed us was sort of a graph, that would, rank these streets are in good condition, these are in poor
Prioritize,
condition,
yeah.
and these need immediate, they're in crisis condition, and so you have sort of a timeline for when you would need to act on those projects.
Makes good logical sense.
My only hesitation, Mayor and Heather, is you're basically taking you're using 10% of the money that we get every year. I mean, cause basically we get $50,000 a year, PAL bill. This would be a great thing if there was some way to bring in more revenue for paving. Because right now, you're getting behind every year. If you have this great report, that's great. But is there another avenue that we can go down to secure more funding for paving?
Yes.
I mean,
Paving is general fund, you know, and what feeds the general fund is sales tax and property tax.
right.
It is.
I knew those. I didn't know if there's
You didn't
any
know
other.
if there was
any other.
something else, I mean, I don't think there's any grant funding out there and above and beyond POW bills, to be honest. I haven't ever seen anything that said that you could utilize, you know, grant money or free money or that sort of thing for paving. And that's just part of your,
I think that's looked upon as just the usual service of the town,
It is.
and that we need to fund accordingly.
but,
So,
It just thinks that we're always just able to patch or, you know, do these small
Right.
sections, and it seems like you're always getting behind.
well, you are, but, you know, part of what they're gonna do, and Shane, you can jump in here if I'm misrepresenting anything, but is they will show us a lot of options for extending the life of surfaces, and some things that we haven't been doing that are more cost effective but would extend the life of road
like,
beyond.
one example.
Well, the filling of certain cracks.
Just doing cracks, filling cracks and things of that nature. He said a lot of times you're looking at 15-year roads that you could probably stretch out to 20-year roads just by just a little bit of maintenance here or there. So that's a piece of that puzzle.
That makes sense.
And the plan would show us where those opportunities are, I guess. It's so that we could develop a strategy internally for addressing them. You know, I mean, we do have some general fund money that we put towards street maintenance. It's not all POW bill money, but there's just certain things POW will let us spend on.
They're very specific, aren't they?
They're pretty specific.
That's what I thought.
And Shane, does he include like prevention detection too? Like say, well, this road's doing really well, but you know, if you do certain things, then it'll last even longer.
That's basically what's in that report. I mean, as far as the way we understood it, they come through, they go each and every road. The same two people does each one of these certifications, estimates, whatever you want to call it. And they'll look at the alligator cracking, if it's got any larger type cracking. I may not be using all the right terminology and all
Well,
that, but.
we understand you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then they give you recommendations as far as maintenance and all that, of extending the streets that's not completely gone or anything of that nature. They give you like recommendations of what you can do as far as maintenance wise to extend the life of that for a while longer before you actually have to do a complete repaving job or.
I guess my question was, will they take into consideration the amount of money that we have? to deal
Yes,
with?
it's right here.
Because they could come in and say,
Exactly.
well, if you've got $10 million, we can do this.
Sure. This report will provide the town with recommended maintenance activities to strategically replace, perform maintenance on, or preserve pavements in a manner consistent with budgetary constraints, driver safety, and NCDOT POW bill compliance. So, I mean, they work with a lot of small towns. They know most places are in the same shape we're in. They get their POW bill money every year and they try to figure out how they can allocate that to do something. I think this is just basically saying to us, you know, we'll give you a priority schedule that identifies your payment conditions, your major distress and street classifications, and then, they'll look at stuff like, you know, ratings, traffic volume, that sort of thing, you know, and give us guidance on how we can maintain, and then tell us like, here's the stuff you gotta fix, like right away, you're gonna lose this road, basically.
And you know, that's one of the biggest complaints I think we get around town from people is potholes and the condition of the streets. And I think it sounds like a good approach to fixing and giving and letting people know that we understand that we do have some problem streets, and we're making a good faith effort to improve our streets, and we're going to approach this systematically and do something about it. This is we're going to make a real effort, and it sounds like a good idea to me. And we're not just gonna do it helter-skelter, put a little, you know, sometimes the only thing we can do is just put some, what is that stuff, Shane, that coal pack or something?
Coal patch.
Yeah.
That
You know,
really
and
good stuff.
we run hither and yon because somebody complains that on their street, they just can't go through that hole anymore. So we fixed that one for them, and then, you know, I think it's a great idea. I'd be in favor of it.
And
I
I
think,
think they indicated that all this would be generated too in a GIS format. And so, you know, we would not only, I mean, we have maps to show, and it would show, it'd be color coded to show us, you know, here's streets that are good, here's streets that are, need some love pretty soon, and here's ones that are,
I guess I see what Russell's saying, though. Does the cost outweigh what we could assess through Public Works or without the report? Like, is this something we could assess ourselves?
David
but
did this
don't, but
for a
don't you
living.
think the strength of the report is that it prioritizes for us?
It does.
I don't think that we have anybody with, I guess, the expertise to create this type of assessment.
Well, and it certainly gives us some
I mean,
leverage.
our guys can go around and say, hey, yeah, we can count potholes and stuff like that and see where there's. but
And do we have the manpower? Because our guys are busy doing other things, aren't they? I'll ask you that,
Not
Shane.
really. I mean, in all honesty, we really don't. I mean, there's always something else that takes you to do something else instead of looking at the streets, but, we just, I mean, as far as, I mean, we can look at it and we can say, yeah, it's cracked, it's gonna need some asphalt. But as far as really knowing what to do to fix that street, there's none of us that knows anything about that, to be honest.
Did you feel like this
So
was
the cost outweighs the, I
I
mean,
guess to a certain extent,
I
I mean, it does.
I mean, the report outweighs the cost. Like, it's really well worth it.
I think it is to a certain extent. I mean, you know, it gives you something to look at. You know, in 10 years, here's the streets we really need to look at. We've got to figure out the money that we've got to have to fix these streets 10 years down the road. Or, you know,
Well,
a year down the road, 2 years down the road.
I think when you have a plan, you start getting it done versus waiting on people to complain to the board. You know, our street needs it more than Susie Jones's street. I mean, this is a great plan to get us.
Denise, to your, I knew it was in here somewhere because I read it, but I forgot where. To your question about cost, it says recommendations from the Federal Highway Administration and NCDOT approved asphalt maintenance activities such as milling, grinding, resurfacing, sealing, overlays, or patching will be cost estimated by treatment type. These costs will be accompanied by a customized prioritization strategy for implementation of ongoing pavement rehabilitation. So they will give us a cost estimate of
Cost
different
estimate.
types of things that we can do, and then they'll give us sort of a strategy for prioritizing those.
And that would be super beneficial.
Well, I mean, I feel like that's
So we can
something,
budget.
you know, and this is Shane's guys are busy easy.
Yeah.
What they do. I think this
Yeah.
is something that has been overlooked for a long period of
Yeah.
time.
And you know the streets are important to me,
And I know the
because
streets are-
Well, they are-
we've discussed it before.
They're-
But I just want to be
they're-
sure that was the correct approach to go, and I read his proposal, and I thought it was good. I just wanted to be sure that, I understood what Russell was saying, just to be sure.
Well, I mean, it's the first time I've ever recall us having an action plan with prioritization of, based on need. I mean, it's based generally on demand, so this gives a lot of credibility to pursuing the plan.
And streets are something everybody uses every day, whether you're walking, whether you're driving, so.
Well, and I mean, you know, and not to say that $5,400 is something we would sneeze about, but in the grand scheme of engineering, which is what I look at a lot, is, I was surprised that it was, I felt like it was the cost was not exorbitant. You know,
I would-
feel like they're gouging us, they're gonna send guys over here and they're gonna take their computers and machines and whatnot and make these
I think
calculations.
it's
But,
money well spent.
as I said, you know, Powell bill money is not, we have other monies in the budget that could be utilized.
Okay, well, I think that we need a motion to approve the survey proposal, please.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are we in agreement? We are.
Yep.
Okay, so there you have it, Heather.
Okay, I'm getting to the end. Sewer ORC contracting. We have a contract for 2 services with Water Quality Labs out of Banner Hill for our sewer plant. One is to do our laboratory testing, and the other is to be our ORC, our officer in charge. of the facility. Operator responsible in charge or something?
Something like that.
Operator and, yeah.
Yeah, okay, there you go.
Operator.
We have that in-house at the water department, but we do not have it at the sewer department. We had discussions over the past year and a half or so about bringing those services in-house. There was an employee who has been working on some certifications, so that would be possible. We had a meeting with him earlier in the year, and he did not feel like he would be ready in time to undertake that in-house. So I am thinking we need to negotiate a contract for at least another 12 months of service with Water Quality Labs. We could put out an RFP, but when we looked at this before, there was lots of lab facilities that are willing to do our labs, but there wasn't any, I don't think, in the region that were doing ORC contracting. So they're really the only ones sort of in our neck of the woods, and the ORC is required to come to the plant, send someone to the plant 5 days a week and do specific reporting and testing and that sort of thing.
We still using Jad, we still using Jad.
Well, he has left that company
Oh,
and
okay.
his
But it's
partner
same
is,
company.
but it's the same company.
Okay.
Water Quality Labs up
Yeah.
in Van Riel. So we, you know, I think we probably should move on a discussion with them about extending their contract.
You're thinking this would be for at least a year before?
Another 12 months.
Okay,
It expires on the 1st of December.
well, that seems very logical. We need a motion to approve that.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Russell. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. And Bunny, okay, so the motion's unanimous.
Okay, and the very last, well, no, it's not the very last thing, the almost very last
Close.
thing I have close is, we talked about now that the town has a manager position, we did not have a job description for that manager position in our, employee handbook, and basically we have drafted one that is just sort of a carbon copy of the statute and what is allowed for a manager's position under statute. So, just at your pleasure, if you want to, accept that, job description, approve it to amend the employee handbook, or there's always the option, if you felt like it was lacking in some way, to send it back to the personnel committee and have them make some additions. But it covers basically what the legal requirements are from the statute.
Well, if it covers the legal requirements, that's good enough for me.
Well, and it covered the education.
Pardon me?
It had covered the education
I think so.
background
Did
too.
they get-
The
Yeah,
education
yeah.
and
There's
professional.
some things like that too.
Yeah.
But yes.
I thought it covered
It
really well.
did, but the meat of what the job duties are is just what's outlined in the statute.
I just had one question. The hiring and the firing, why is the town manager can hire and fire everybody else? I noticed that is, I don't have it right here, I'm not,
That's the state law,
yeah, but why can't they do the, attorney?
because the attorney is appointed by the board and sits at the pleasure of the board.
Oh, okay.
Just like the manager's appointed by the
It
board.
was,
and sits, so-
it didn't say, it just said everybody that was employed, didn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It didn't
everybody
say,
except the-
because they are.
So that's why the manager and the attorney both sit at the pleasure of the board and answer to the board. It can be removed.
At the pleasure
So
of
it's
the
not
board.
considered an employee.
It's not considered an employee.
I just wanted to know.
Any,
And also, for that matter, the clerk's position is anything that's appointed by the board and answers directly.
So
to
the clerk is not considered an employee?
Not for these purposes, no.
additional questions? Okay, so we need to approve that. Am I not, a motion to approve the mayor's job description as presented?
I move we accept, is that the word?
Yes.
The town manager's
Job
job
description.
description is presented.
Now, second.
Are we in agreement? We are. Okay, it's unanimous.
And the very last thing I have as tax collector is
Yes.
which is also appointed, is the collection rate report, and this is for tax year 2020, because current tax year 2021, those taxes do not become delinquent until January 6th. But just to let you know, as of this date, Jackie has done an absolutely fabulous job of collections, and we now have collected 99.1%.
My
Wow.
word.
That is great.
Seems like it ought to be 99.9%.
Well, and there's just a few dollars left out there, but I guarantee if anybody can get it, she can. So, it's been, she's done a real good job staying on top of it and working with people. And we have quite a few people who are under payment plans and things like that, but,
That's great.
Still, it's coming in.
right.
Well, Heather, great,
I will
great
shut that up
reports.
gratefully.
Well, great reports, and thank you very much. Okay, looks like Mr. Dale, it's now your time.
All right. All right, OMC pump station. As far as OMC pump station, it is pretty well complete. The only thing that they're waiting on now is a change order for a pump that could possibly tie us into the East Yancey Sewer District when that line gets complete. So, the engineer is currently waiting on the contractor for that bid amount and everything for that change order. And that's basically it. The rest of the lights and everything's been put up down there. The pump station's been running very well for the last couple of months. So, knock on wood.
For a
hopefully it
change.
stays that way. But everything seems to be pretty good down there.
Well, that's good to hear.
Like I say, that's the only thing that they're waiting on is bid from their, or a price, I guess, from the contractor right now is for that pump. And then maybe that piece of the project can move forward and they'll finish that up. The water line, Westover Drive, we've had a couple of little changes that we're having to make on the water line, and I guess we need your all's approval for the current contract price was $31,000 and some change. And we've had a little amendment to that, which is a $6,000 difference, which would be 371.70, so roughly right around the $6,000 difference. Basically what that's for is for some unforeseen taps that somehow got missed throughout that. So if we'll get you all to approve the $6,000 change, that would be wonderful. We'll move forward with that. I think it's a completion time of 20th.
Yeah, I think they would need an extra, they said 10 days, so
Yeah.
we'll put it at the 20th.
So we need a motion to approve that, those additional
The
funds.
amend, yeah, just the
Just
amendment.
the-
All right, so is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Second, and we're all in agreement. Shane?
All right. And as far as the paving projects that we had out there, we had Presnell Street, that one has been completed. That one, Mountain View Drive, you're probably not gonna see a whole lot unless you actually live there, but Mountain View Drive has been complete. One that most everybody's gonna probably notice will be East Boulevard and Ivy Street. And that one's all nice and smooth down through there now too, so those are completed, and I guess that's the money that we had to spend this year. And
Well, okay.
that's everything I have.
All right, well, thank you for your report. Any questions for Shane before we move on? All right, I guess we will move on to you, Miss Leslie.
Okay. Well, speaking of paving, I have got a budget amendment, for, if you look at it, this one's easier to follow, but I've typed out and printed out, an explanation and the lines, information for you that's behind it. But it's basically, we're just moving money from our savings in the power, the $105,130 down here to the paving capital outlay. Because we hadn't paved in a couple of years, and last year I had asked Dylan to hold off until spring because we didn't know what the revenues were gonna look like. With COVID, they projected, they did not know how Powell would be. But it held, not strong, but it held. So, we've got this paving done. We're leaving a little in there because we feel like we will have to pave Westover, or, over there where the fire department is. So we're leaving a little bit in there from what we had this year. So I've just incorporated this whole amount to cover these roads that we just done. And then this second line is contribution from capital reserve in the fire department. And basically, all this is transferring money from the fire tax savings. But I need to run it through the operational budget because I'll get in trouble with that. But anyway, so I've been real careful about moving money into that construction account because that's where the loan money was. And they had a hold on that money, and I would have to ask for permission to actually write a check and pay those bills. So the only money I had moved was the concrete stabilization and just that paving. And so all the initial $398,411 was in there, their 1.6 was in there. But during this time, McGill and BLE have been charging us, right along for construction phase, watching over the project and testing like the soil and stuff. And then Armand has charged us periodically through that for extra stuff. So I've been paying that out of that. And you'll see that I've got this at 90,000, and hopefully that's like the worst case scenario. McGill's like right at 50 right now, they just sent a new bill. BLE's at like 13, and Armand, I forget, we paid the bulk of his out of the budget a couple of years ago. So, but I just need to have this here so I can move it when it gets down to it. If there is, there is a little bit of a shortfall just because I hadn't moved any for McGill or the engineer. But I done that, and I need a motion to approve this. And then I'll explain the project ordinance a little bit better.
So we need to take action on your budget amendment.
Yeah.
motion to approve her presentation.
I make that motion.
Is there a second? We are unanimous.
Leslie, should you pretty much have all the payouts and everything in within the next week or so?
Yeah.
I mean, that should be closed out pretty
They're all
quick.
in.
Everything's
The
in
final walkthrough scheduled for next
Wednesday.
Wednesday, yes. And the email we got from the contractor was that all payouts have been paid, basically. So,
Okay.
There's that.
But you don't
There
foresee-
might-
you don't
the
foresee any-
retainage
The
that's out there.
retainage has
Yeah.
not been.
Right,
Yeah.
but you don't foresee any more from engineering or architecture?
Well,
We may get another one from engineering just for this final walkthrough and close out. I think BLE should be done.
Yeah, there's no more
That's
testing.
good.
They did their last testing, I think, on the aprons and the pavement. September, first part of September.
And I've got a $600 bill from them, and McGill had just sent a $3,000 bill, but I'm like her, sure, surely. And then if we were to get this 25,000, then that would actually, decrease this amount we have to move, but I need this in case we
Right.
have.
Okay.
But pretty much what I wanted to explain to you, this town of Burnsville contribution, that's pretty much the balloon. It's got that money that we've paid Armand on this top section, Russell.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got the money we had paid Armand in the past to actually do that work. And I've included it down here, and I've tweaked this a little bit. But then, so what I wanted to explain to you is from the $1,998,000 down, this has already been moved and covered and paid for. And this from here up was actually, from Armand up here, had not.
Right.
I had not moved that. But I was a little nervous about moving it because they would hold it, and I had to get permission from the bank for them to release those funds, so.
Well, now,
I
does,
didn't want to really move our money because you lost control of it.
well, now, does Amon come to do any final inspection, or? Well, I mean, isn't that a requirement?
He was out of town, so let's hope not.
I'd say the inspection would be under McGill's.
Well, he was included, I know, in the emails from the engineers, in case there were any issues or questions regarding the building, but I feel like the contractors will be there to answer those. So I don't know, I haven't heard. but-
Should he? Yes, but
Well, I mean, I've done building projects and never known to sign out an awful one without the architect being there. Just wondered.
Well, if he's gonna charge us, maybe not.
Well, on second thought,
with McGill being the engineer, they can do the final closeout.
I think that they can.
But he
well, I
probably
feel
should be there.
comfortable with McGill. I just wondered about Armand.
I would have thought that would have been part of his contract.
Yeah.
That would have been included.
Well, it should be, but anyway, we'll keep us posted.
I mean, there wouldn't be a charge, I wouldn't.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, but knowing Armand,
I need a motion to approve this. if you
yes.
would, please.
We need a motion to approve the project ordinance, is that correct, Leslie?
I'll make
Update,
I'll make
excuse me.
that motion.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, yes, thank you, Betty. Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you. Well, we're blessed. Okay, let's see, now, where are we?
The fire department, I'll
Okay, we'll yield to you, Heather.
Niles is unavailable tonight. He's got his operations, his monthly
Yes.
operations.
Right.
Building project update, as we've said, they're basically done. I think the last thing that had to be done was a tie-in with French Broad. They were waiting on a certain type of wiring, and I think that will be done tomorrow. And then next week, on Wednesday, the walkthrough for the final inspection will be done. And then it, I guess, should be turned over to us at that point.
That's
So
good.
that was sort of his update there.
Very good. Okay, anything else, Heather, under? No. All right, well, Brian, we will move on to you, sir, please.
All right, since Heather used up most of her time, I'll try to shorten mine.
Okay.
As much as
That would be
possible.
very helpful.
Passed out our activity logs, or activity totals, excuse me, for the month. The only other, real update from the department, our new patrol car, you may have seen it around town. They
Yeah.
finally arrived, upfitted their 6-cylinder Durango, so if you see it marked
It's
up.
very handsome.
Yeah, it's a good looking vehicle, and the officer's very, very happy with it, so. So
Now, who
far.
drives that one?
That one's Sergeant Bennett.
Sergeant Bennett, okay.
Yep. Moving on to code enforcement, we had several, smaller projects come in that I've been working on as far as our remodels and some other minor additions, but we also, earlier today, had a larger project, and we have a planning board meeting next week that will be addressed, for some more, business for our Main Street area that should be coming in, so that'll be taken up hopefully at the planning board meeting on Tuesday to be discussed.
That is held here, or is it held at,
It's here, right?
The main- yeah,
I believe it's
okay.
here in the classrooms.
right, and the
Yep.
public is welcome to
Yeah,
attend?
that's at 6:15 on Tuesday.
Yes.
That's really the updates I have, unless anyone has any questions.
Well, the only thing that I wish to comment on, and it's gonna haunt us until we figure out what we're gonna do about it, the noise on the bypass is really pretty bad. Now, once the new people in the new AN take over, I'm sure we're gonna hear more about it. I'm just sounding the alarm that it's, I don't know what the actual final solution would be, but it's just really, particularly in the evenings, and I know because my bedroom is in that direction, and I'm not complaining. I mean, I just think it's something we need to be concerned about because it's not going away, and it will come back to bite us numerous times. I don't know if some special officer needs to be on duty. I mean, it's not that people aren't doing their job, but it's pretty loud, and it's the new AM particularly with their guests will not be happy. It's kind of like we have swapped. I know Jody can identify where we had, and Bunny, the racing of cars around the square. That was a major issue years ago. Well, now we've just swapped venues. The square is more at
But you've
peace.
also increased the volume out there with it being 4 lanes.
That's right, I realize that, and it's not a complaint, but I mean, I don't know, I picked up the Avery Journal and realized that, I mean, we are not alone. Other towns, small ones like us, are having the same issues, so I just really just toss that out there that it's not gonna go away, and I don't know what the answer is, but it is going to come back to bite us. So, anyway, thank you for your report. Okay, we were back to Burnsville events on the town square. So, the ordinance for Halloween on the square road closure, Chad, you wanna,
Yeah, this is a previously approved event that the chamber puts together, and we've approved, and it was sent off by Brian for DOT to approve the road closure, and we've got that back, they've approved it, and we just need to make a motion that we approve
the road
what
closure?
DOT's done.
Okay, so is there a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
Well, thank you. Is there a second? You know, do you understand, Judy? You look perplexed.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, where is it closed in, is it the whole square and all the way down?
From 3:30 to 7, or from 4 to 7:30, something like that.
3:30 to 7:30 sounds correct, that's pretty close. It's in that ballpark. I don't have the numbers.
So-
It's all the way down, so up Cooper Street, I believe.
We just cross our fingers, there's not a
Yeah,
fight.
it runs Cooper Street to right where it's.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So was that motion, did I get a vote? I mean, got a motion, but everybody has approved.
I seconded it.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Now we're back to Dylan and his wonderful Halloween show on October the 30th. The motion to approve the closure of the parking lot, the stage being moved, and we will be a sponsor of that event. Those are, we can vote on those individually or as a cluster for that event. I would like to make the motion that we approve all of those.
I second
And I'm in agreement.
And you're for, okay,
If you haven't
so
done it, I was fixing to.
you got it, Dylan. Thank you so much. We're looking forward to it, as always. Okay, Corbin, we have not overlooked you. Tell us about our town center.
Yeah, not a whole lot to report on, we have had a couple cancellations. With October, we have 16 events planned. November has 20, and then December we have 17. So we're still booked for the most part. Like I said, the last 2 months, most of the public events, they keep canceling on us. We expect a few more cancellations, but with private events, they're still holding strong.
Are the cancellations due to COVID?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
It's still, some people are still, a little concerned, and with being an indoor venue, I understand, of course. But other than that, like I said, the private events, we're still holding strong with that. We got a couple of weddings coming up. High Peaks Trail Association
Yeah.
will be this weekend, from 9 AM to 2 PM, or 10 AM to 2 PM, sorry.
Is that Saturday?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes, and, top of my head, I can't remember the gentleman who was speaking, but he's wrote a couple different books, and then one of them is on the history of these mountains, which is.
Tim Silver.
Yeah, it's in the paper this week, is it not, Jody? Yes.
But other than that, not a whole lot to report on. If you guys have any questions, I'd love to answer.
Well, I think it's good you keep us alive and moving, and this time next year, it'll be just a passing memory.
Hopefully, yeah.
We certainly hope
Love to
so.
get back to normal.
Yes. Well, thank you for your efforts and good work. Okay, I guess that brings everything down to me. Let's go back to the closed session minutes. We now need officially a motion to approve as read.
I approve, make that motion to approve as read.
Okay,
Second.
Denise. And I know Judy wasn't here, Bunny, it has yours as well as mine, so these have been approved. Thank you all. I gave you the proclamation that, I don't think I really need to read it, but it is Paint the Town Pink for 2021, and it has to do with Mission Health's Paint the Town Pink. They have done this initiative before to recognize, it's national, this day of common cancer among women in the United States, other than skin cancer, and it is, of course, breast cancer. So what we do is we ask all the governing towns to support it by approving this proclamation. That if you read the last therefore, you will see that I, Charles Vines, in the town of Bakersville, Teresa Coletta in the town of Burnsville, and Darla Harding in the town of Spruce Pine do hereby proclaim that the town of Spruce Pine also be known as Paint the Town Pink during the month of October in support of this important initiative. We encourage our residents to help raise awareness about breast cancer by supporting activities and programs such as Paint the Town Pink. So, with this proclamation, I need a motion to approve it, please.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. And the motion is unanimous. Thank you all. I'll get this back to Mission Hospital. And that concludes my report. Let's see. So we'll move on to, I guess, the consideration of the planning board alternate. Who is presenting that request? Is it you, or Heather?
I will. You want to do it, go ahead.
We met with, Mr. Stankus, Martin Stankus, lives up on, Lakes Lane, I believe.
He's my neighbor.
And he showed an interest in, becoming an alternate with the planning board during an application. We had a conversation, Heather and I had a conversation with him the other day. It seemed like a very good candidate. He has experience in, what was the, I don't remember.
He's a retired 32-year planner with the city of Raleigh.
Yeah.
Planning department.
Huh. Very well qualified then.
Yeah, it seemed like it from his
But,
application.
he seemed like a very nice individual, was very interested in, and when we, highlighted a lot of things that we didn't necessarily, we wanted Burnsville to be Burnsville and not some other place, but we did want, a lot of help moving forward. Having some experience on that board would be beneficial, so, he seemed like a very good candidate to me, and I think Heather has the same opinion.
How long has he been here from?
I don't know the answer. to
5
that.
years?
Do
3
you know
years,
Bunny?
5 years?
He's your
It's on
neighbor?
his application.
Martin's been here, I guess he has.
Since 2016.
Okay. Well, you all, I mean, you feel it's a good recommendation to us.
He seemed like a very capable and qualified individual.
Okay, so is there a motion for us to approve his appointment to the planning board?
I make that motion.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
And I'm in agreement, and so are the others. So that takes care of that. We hope he's as happy as we are. Okay, Christie, last but not least.
Thank you all for having me again. We received our advanced copy of the 2020 county economic impact numbers from the state this week, and it's probably going to come as no surprise to you that tourism numbers for Yancey County are up. But what, for 2020, they're up for 2021 too, but what did come as a surprise to me as I looked over the reports was that Yancey County had the second highest percentage increase in the state. And that we were only beat out by Greene County, and that's because their numbers were so low that they almost didn't even matter. We've got some substantial increase this past year, and I can guarantee you that the numbers are up for this year as well. So we're getting a lot of people into town, and 3 of those people are coming up next week. I've got 3 travel writers in, one of them from the Smithsonian Magazine next week.
Great.
So we're definitely seeing a lot of traction on getting some people to notice Burnsville. You may have seen that we installed some mountainscapes around our building on the windows of the Visitor Center. If you haven't, drive by and check them out. Just one more reason to try to get people in our office, find out what Burnsville has to offer. On the 19th, I'll also be in Raleigh to talk at a Visit NC Media presentation about Burnsville and talk to people in the media about our community. On the 20th, we start our Yancey County Leadership Program that we're partnering with the Extension Office and EDC to put that program together to try to help educate some of the people in the community on what we have here to offer and try to build some leaders in our community to take part in all of the boards and the nonprofits and town council and whatnot. And on the 21st, we'll be hosting our next business breakfast as well as our next business after hours, and that'll be at the RE/MAX building. So the next couple of weeks are going to be exhausting, for me at least. And then, of course, Trick or Treat Main Street's coming up on the 30th, and then we're moving on into Christmas. So that's all I've got today.
So do you have a Christmas parade planned?
I do have a Christmas parade planned. The theme this year is going to be Candyland. I thought that would give us some options for floats, and I already have those applications are already online for people, and I've had people in the office already picking up applications to be in the Christmas parade. So
Now your business breakfast is here.
yes,
at
it
8
sure
o'clock.
is. 8 o'clock. Yes, yes, ma'am.
That's
Would
the
love
20th.
to have you show up.
I hoped, I've not been too mobile lately, but I hope to make it to this one.
That sounds great. At this point last year, I'd only been here 7 days, so.
Well,
Happy anniversary, I'm glad you're here.
I think it was the first week that I came in and spoke.
well, we enjoy having you, and also to speak. I believe you are our first chamber person to do that for us, so we.
I'm glad to keep you guys updated because, without the support of the town, we couldn't do as good a job as we do. So, thank
Well,
you.
we appreciate your
Thank
very
you.
positive attitude and your good.
Any questions?
Just to remind the board members that I will be passing on to you the box that has events on the town square in the summer months. So we'll be going through that soon.
Okay.
Hope she's happy. Okay, well, I think anyway, thank you for your good report, Christie. There's no closed session. Our next council meeting will be November the 4th. And having reminded you of that, is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Yeah,
Is there a second? Is it unanimous? We're adjourned.